My name is Najiyyah Brooks, founder of DIVA Zone Enterprises, also known as the Restore Her Retreat Ministries. I just want to give a little information today about our history and our origin. So I've been asked, how did you arrive at the name DIVA Zone? So just to be clear, we are a social organization, but we have a spiritual foundation. So initially I caught a lot of flack for the name because I had the religious community saying that I should not use words like diva, but because I also have a marketing background, I decided that I would go with my instinct and use the name to reach individuals that I thought would be more reflective of who we are as an organization. So DIVA Zone actually derives from an acronym, and diva meaning divinely inspired, virtuous, and anointed women. So this is our zone, right? The DIVA Zone. And Restore Her Retreat Ministries came along years later when we realized that the very core of who we are as an organization is a retreat ministry. So the butterfly, you see I have a butterfly emblem on. That's very important to our brand because it's all about transformation here. When we started this organization, I was in my 30s. And many of my comrades and my sisters who labor with me were also, much younger. I'm in my 50s now. So it's interesting to look back and to see how I've grown. We realized that we were transforming in real time though, because we were becoming more spiritual. We were becoming more aware of who we were as women. We were becoming the essence of this brand. There's a tagline that goes along with the DIVA Zone, and I have to read it, and I want to do it and absorb it as I read it to you. It's our magazine tag, but it's also our organization tag. So finally, a brand that represents today's spiritual, balanced, fashionable, business savvy, socially conscious sister. Amen. That's who we are. That's who we've always been. And it's interesting that as a younger woman in my 30s, I knew that all of those pieces of us as women were equally as important, and that outside of the church community, we needed a space where we actually could become, where we were free to be creative, where we were free to be women without all of the hats, to focus on ourselves and our own spiritual growth and healing. And I'm really proud to say that after 18 years of retreats and over 20 years in ministry, that we are still who we are to the core. So how did we start? I get that question a lot. Believe it or not, it started in my living room with 5 women. 5 women that I am so blessed to say are still here on today. Still here, serving, ministering, over 20 years of friendship. Started in my living room in the first home that I own here in the Virginia area. And we met on a Saturday morning for coffee and bagels. And the whole idea was that we would come together, not in a church setting, but we would come together and just share and focus on ourselves outside of the church arena. Well, we met at 10:30. That was the time that we were scheduled to meet. Well, it was 5 o'clock and women were still at my house. Some were laid out on the floor, prostrate before God. Some were just in a corner in the Word praying. And others were just socializing in another room and having some food. And I thought it was wonderful, and I was very pleased and excited about how it went. And I thought that I had done what God told me to do, only to find out that those women charged me with having it every month. And so that's what we started to do. We started to have it every month. Then one Saturday came, and people invited so many people that basically my neighbors who love me told me afterwards, listen, you stopped our mail from coming. The mailman could not get to anyone's mailbox. So, can you let your guests know that they need to park somewhere else? And because it was a cul-de-sac, that couldn't happen. So we started meeting in hotel meeting rooms on Saturday, and we continued to grow. And then I started being called out to host this at other churches, and it became known as the Year of the Virtuous Woman. And so we just went step by step with the character of the Proverbs 31 woman. And so that's how we got our start. We became a retreat ministry early on in the ministry as well. The history of the first retreat is interesting because it was never supposed to be a retreat. That's what's so funny about this. It was never supposed to be an annual event. In fact, the first retreat, if I can be absolutely transparent, was when I was formerly married to a pastor, and I was really emotional and in not a good place because I realized that the marriage was unstable and that it would very likely be ending. And when I came to that realization and realized that we were leading people in church, and a lot of these people trusted that we were perhaps in a much better space than we honestly were, I decided that I needed to get away. I just couldn't smile one more Sunday at church. I couldn't do it. So I had some elders in ministry from another church, and they owned a land with a youth retreat center. And they actually asked me, they told me about it and said, if you ever wanted to use it for the church, you can use it. And that was great. But what I needed was a space for me. I just wanted to go somewhere and cry in the wilderness on several acres of land and be alone. So I told the women of the church that that's what I was planning to do. And the same women, who were now more like 15, not 5, told me that they were going too. They said, what makes you think that it's just okay for you to go away? First of all, we don't know who's going to be with you in the wilderness out there. We're going for that reason. And they actually told me that, you know what, we're going through our own stuff too. And we want to be in that kind of space too. We want to be alone too. So I agreed that, okay, we can go, but now everybody has to chip in because now we've all got to eat for the weekend. We need to make that happen. We're not going to be in a place where we can run to a store, and we have to have something to do. So long story short, that first weekend, there were about 15 of us in the ministry. And we invited friends and they invited friends. So it turned out that the first year we had about 50 ladies, and that turned into the first annual retreat. This year, 2023, is our 18th year of ministry, friendship, sisterhood, and this retreat, now known as the Restore Her Retreat Ministries. It was formerly known as the DIVA Zone's Inspirational Holiday Retreat. But because the retreating part of this ministry is what we are and who we are to our core, we just decided to add the name Restore Her Retreat Ministries and brand it that way.
Barbara House. I come to this retreat every year for the last 15 years, I believe, and every year is totally different. When I come in, I'm heavy, weighed down, but once we get into the retreat, it's like you're restored, you're rejuvenated, you feel like living life again. Living life is rough. And sometimes we feel like we just can't take another step. But when I come to this DIVA Zone retreat amongst my fellow sisters, I feel like I'm back in the presence of God. 2022 has been a special year. To see the new people that come in, to watch their facial expressions as we go through the different workshops, is truly amazing. The one that Gina Johnson just did about the will, yeah, that was very, very informative. Stuff that we know we need to do but haven't done. And I think that has given me the extra push to get it done.
Sherelle Benders, Newark, New Jersey, but I live in Montclair. It is very empowering, encouraging, rejuvenating, and finally I feel like there are as many women around me with the same intentions, the same level, the same expectancy from God, and literally intervening on my behalf. I guess the most impactful experience that I've had is being able to be around women who know what you need without telling them. Them being in tune with God, that they could whisper a word of encouragement, or they could give you the right scripture that God has directly for you, right? And just be so in tune with God that you know what they're actually doing is God's work because it clicks for you. And when they say it, it's a revelation. It's something you already know. It's something you was like, oh God, I thank you and I appreciate it. Oh, I'll be coming back again. And I'm trying to figure out who I'm bringing back. That part. I'm going to go spread all the word, okay?
Linda Phelps. I love all the fellowship, all the workshops. It's just a real good feeling all around. To be more spiritual. I was spiritual, but I need to be more spiritual and trust in the Lord, and just trust, not to be afraid of where my life is taking me.
Noreen and Henry, this is my first year, and oh my word, I've got so much to say. But before even the retreat began, I felt at home. I felt like I found my family. That's how I felt the first night before anything even started. Definitely bring other people, because yesterday was the first day. So people were actually coming to my mind who I would tell that needs to be here. I would tell people because I felt free, actually. I felt free. I felt free to be myself. I feel restored and rejuvenated, and I feel stronger. Like, because the word says iron sharpens iron, and that's what I feel.
Hi, my name is Anne Marie Bennett, and I am a member of the DIVA Zone board. And I have been coming to DIVA Zone for 6 years. And what I love most about DIVA Zone in the weekends is that I look forward to it. I live a busy life, and this is my time to get away, to refuel, to renew, to restore. And I get to see my girls. I get to just be Annie. I don't have to be mom, I don't have to be wife. I just take this time to just come full circle with my friends, and we get each other encouragement, and we just have a good time.